Okay, today we will be in Chapter 1, Section 9, Exponents, Parentheses, and Order of Operations. Our two topic objectives for this section are to evaluate numerical expressions involving positive exponents and to evaluate numerical expressions using the order of operations. Okay, Chapter 1, Section 9, Exponents, Parentheses, and the Order of Operations. First, we're going to be talking about exponents. In the expression 3 to the 4th power, the 3 is called the base and the 4 is called the exponent. So there's the 3 raised to the 4, which is the exponent. 3 to the 4th power is read 3 to the 4th power, and it means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Notice the 3 is written 4 times, and that equals 3 to the little 4, which equals 81. There's 4 factors of 3 in that case. Note that x plus x plus x plus x equals 4x, and x times x times x times x equals x raised to the 4th power. So there is a distinction there, and it is easy to get those confused. So it's good to make sure you know whether or not you're adding or adding or multiplying. Okay, there's a special instance that happens when we're talking about our exponents that can be very confusing, and this is the negative x to the 2nd power versus parentheses negative x to the 2nd power. So this one's one that gets a lot of people confused and will take a lot of practice. So an exponent refers only to the number or letter that directly precedes it, unless parentheses are used to indicate otherwise. So we have a negative x raised to the 2nd power. This is the same as negative and then parentheses x, parentheses x. Notice there's only one negative being represented, and that's because the power refers only to that x. Now, on the second example, we have parentheses with negative x inside, and then the power of 2's on the outside of that. And that means that we write everything inside the parentheses 2 times. So we have negative x times negative x, which will give us a positive x squared. Notice that's different than the example right above it. So here's an example using numbers. If we have a negative 5 to the 2nd power, that's the same thing as having negative and then parenthesis 5 and then parenthesis 5, which equals negative 25. The alternative to that is having negative 5 within the parentheses raised to the 2nd power. This equals negative 5 times negative 5, which will give us a positive 25. So in one case, we're going to have a negative answer, and in another case, we're going to have a positive answer. This problem always shows up on the midterm and final, so this is one of those ones you probably want to star for future reference. Okay, let's discuss the order of operations. To evaluate mathematical expressions, use the following order. First, evaluate the information within the parentheses, brackets, or braces. These are grouping symbols, for they group information together. A fraction bar also serves as a grouping symbol. If the expression contains nested parentheses, one pair of parentheses within another, evaluate the information in the innermost pair first. So we're going to work from the inside of the parentheses out. Next, we will evaluate all of the exponents. Next, we will evaluate the multiplications and divisions in the order in which they occur, working from left to right. Finally, evaluate all additions or subtractions in the order in which they occur, working from left to right. So this is the Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, the P, E, M, D, A, and S. The Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally is a way to help you remember the order in which you're supposed to do these problems. So let's evaluate this problem. Notice we have parentheses, we have exponents, we have we have subtraction and we have addition. So according to our please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, we need to do parentheses first. So we need to look inside of here and do the stuff inside the parentheses first. So the first step we did was we simplified our exponent inside of the parentheses. Notice we had 4 to the second and we went to 16. Then we did the math within the parentheses. We took 16 minus 13, which gives us our 3. On the next step, we did the exponent, 3 to the 4th power. That becomes 81. Then we added our 4 plus our 81. We did addition, starting from the left. And then we subtracted our 85 minus 3, which will give us our 82. Do another problem. This one looks incredibly messy, but we just take it one step at a time and it comes out nice. Notice we have brackets and parentheses in this case, so we are going to do more than one step at a time. We're going to do the 7 minus 3, which is inside of our top parentheses, so that becomes our 4. On the bottom, we are doing our division in the middle. So we have 16 divided by 8, which becomes our 2. And that's what we did on top, and that's how we get the second set. Then we are taking our 4 to the second power, and that becomes 16 on top. And then on bottom, we took 9 minus 2, which became 7. So we did the exponent on top, and we did subtraction on bottom. Then we are going to do subtraction on top. We took 16 minus 4, and that became 12. And then we took subtraction on bottom, which became 7 minus 4, which gives us our 3. The last step we did was we took 12 to the second power, which is 144 over 3, and that is our exponent. Now, if you don't know whether or not 144 is divisible by 3, the little cheat is to add up each digit, 1 plus 4 plus 4. If that equals a number divisible by 3, then the whole number is divisible by 3. So 1 plus 4 will give us 5, and that plus 4 will give us 9. Is 9 divisible by 3? Yes, it is. So 144 is divisible by 3. And that gives us our 48 as our final answer. Hopefully that little snippet about how you divide by 3 will help you out in future problems. Okay, let's evaluate. This is expressions containing variables. So now what we're doing is we're going to be substituting in a new value for our x, and it'll tell you that value. So in this example, we have 3 times, and then inside of our parentheses, x minus 2 when x equals 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute 5 in for the x. So that's what we do in that very next step. So wherever there's an x in your problem, you're going to put 5. Okay, and then we're going to do our orders of operations. So we have parentheses, so we're going to do that first. So we're going to take 5 minus 2, which will give us 3. So we get 3 times 3, and that'll give us 9 as our final answer. So let's evaluate another problem. We have 3n squared, and then in parentheses, 2n minus 1, and then outside the parentheses, plus 5, when n is negative 4. So we need to substitute in negative 4 everywhere we see that n. So now we're going to have 3 times and then negative 4 squared. And then we're going to have our bracket 2 times negative 4 minus 1, and then outside of that plus 5. We need to just do the order of operations. So we're going to look inside of our bracket first, and we're going to do that. So we're taking 2 times the negative 4, which will give us a negative 8 inside of our parentheses. And we did 2 steps in this case. We took the negative 4 out front, and we took that to the second power, which gives us 16. You don't have to work 2 steps in one line if you don't like to, but this is how we did this one. On the next step, all we did was the parentheses where we had the -8 minus 1, and that became -9. And then we took 3 times 16 times -9. So we have a positive times a positive, which will give us a positive, times a negative, so it's going to give us a negative answer. And then 3 times 16 times 9, if you use your calculator, that will give you the 432. And we add our 5, and then that'll give us a -427. Now let's go ahead and open up your homework in the Course Compass site for section 9. And I'm just going to start with question 1, and we're going to flip through some and see which problems that we want to do. If I can get it to open. There we go. Let's skip. Okay, let's do number 2. We have a -6 to the second power. Remember, we are only doing the exponents only apply to what immediately precedes that. So if there's no parentheses around that negative out front, that means it doesn't get squared. So we have just one negative sign, and then we have 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36, and then we have that negative out there, so the answer is -36. And that's our answer. This problem, again, always shows up on the midterm and the final, so make sure you know that. Here's the other form of this problem. This is the one with the parentheses. So the parentheses indicate that you're going to use everything inside of here and you're going to raise it to that power. So the 2 tells us how many times you're taking that number times itself. So we have -6 times -6. Negative times a negative will give you a positive answer. 6 times 6 again is 36. So we have that. Let's skip ahead and let's see what number 7 is. Okay, number 7 is going to be an order of operations problem. Remember your please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So if we're looking at P is parentheses. We don't have any in this case, so we're going to go on to E. E is for exponents. Do we have any exponents in this problem? No, we don't. So let's go on to my, which is multiplication. Do we have any multiplication in this problem? Yes, we do. We have the 3 times 7. So that will give us 21. So now we have 4 plus 21. And that will give us 25. And that's our answer. Skip ahead to number 10. That's very similar. Skip ahead. Okay, let's do number 11. This is, again, order of operations. So we're looking, our P is parentheses. Do we have those? We do. So we need to do what's inside the parentheses first. Inside the parentheses is addition. So we have the 4 plus the 6, and that will give us 10. So then we have 8 minus 3 times 10. E is for exponents. We don't have any. M is for multiplication. We do have multiplication. We have 3 times 10. So that'll give us 30. So now we have 8 minus 30. If we continue to do that subtraction, we're going to have minus 22. And that's how you do them. If you get tripped up on one of your problems and you really have a hard time with it, you can do similar exercise and it'll give you another problem that's very similar and you can work through it. There's also a help me solve this button over here on the right, and that is very nice because it'll walk you step by step through the problem, and that can give you some added help if you get stuck on one of your homework problems. So good luck on your homework and good luck on your quizzes.